Here are your candidates for a constable in Precinct 1.
And let's get our two candidates for Constable Precinct 1 to come up, please. Constable Precinct 1, Chris Hill and Dennis Finley.
And that is awesome. So good to see everybody turn out. There is no way that 30 years ago that I would have thought that I would be standing here before all of these Hopkins County residents vying for a position at one of the top law enforcement positions in this county. I met a friend at church, a police officer, so a police officer at church about 30 years ago, and said, "Hey, won't you come out and ride with me sometime?" Never crossed my mind about being a cop. I started going out and riding with him. That's where my love and passion for law enforcement started. Been in it pretty much ever since. My name is Chris Hill. I am the son of Charlie and Mel Sickles and the late Harold Hill. I've got I got a bunch of kids and a bunch of grandkids. Got 5 kids, 7 grandkids. And I'm a 4th generation Hopkins County resident. And I'm a master peace officer. I've been in law enforcement, just started my 27th year. And I would love to be elected to your next constable precinct 1. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dennis Finley.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. As I stand before you as a candidate for Hopkins County Constable Precinct 1, my name is Dennis Finley. For the last 28 years, I've served in law enforcement. 25 of those years served as sergeant in Hopkins County. I'm running for the office to continue the legacy set by previous constables and stand upon the shoulders of those who came before me, but more importantly, to serve as your constable Precinct 1 as your constable. I'm currently employed at the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office as a sergeant investigator with the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office. I have over 3,000 hours of in-service training and hold many T-call certificates. I'm a T-call instructor, hostage negotiator, extensive training, fingerprinting, and I'm court security certified and I'm a master peace officer. I am bringing fresh perspective, transparency, and efficiency to the constable's office. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, 4 questions each. You'll have 1 minute, and the person who starts will have a 30-second, will have 2 minutes to answer the questions, and the person who starts will have a 30-second rebuttal if you wish. Chris Hill will start. The first question is, what responsibilities are assigned to constables in Hopkins County versus other law enforcement officers?
Well, the office of the constable, first and foremost, they manage JV courts. They are responsible for serving civil process warrants throughout the county as well. But in Hopkins County, they pretty much have we're needed. Whether that's assisting the sheriff's office, assisting with board hire for the court system. Again, Hopkins County is giving, very, very full of giving people, and but their primary duties are the JV, managing JV courts and serving civil process warrants and paperwork. If elected, I want to expand that. I want to expand it to more of the protect and serve law enforcement officers in the state of Texas do. I want to do everything that's commanded of the constable to do in the state of Texas, but I want to try to take that a step further. Whatever that may be, I'm a servant. I will be elected by y'all to serve y'all. And that's what I want to look at doing. Thank you.
Dennis Finley, what responsibilities are assigned to constables in Hopkins County versus other law enforcement officers?
We serve as any other law enforcement officer in the county or in the state for that matter. In addition to that, we serve civil process. That's what our job is, to serve civil courts, delivering orders, issue orders out of the court that have been delivered. We deliver them throughout the county. We assist other law enforcement agencies in their endeavors as well, but our main function is to obey the courts, serve civil process, and assist other agencies whenever the need comes about.
Chris, you like a rebuttal? Okay, so the second question, and Dennis, I should have just had you stay up there. You'll start this next question off. The question is, what challenges do you foresee transitioning from criminal law enforcement to a predominantly civil law enforcement responsibility? What steps will you apply to address those challenges?
If you don't mind, repeat that.
I'd be happy to. Yep. What challenges do you foresee transitioning from criminal law enforcement to a predominantly civil law enforcement responsibility? What steps will you apply to address those challenges?
I've spent the last 28 years in law enforcement, in criminal law enforcement. I believe it's laid the foundation for me to transition simply into civil law. As far as challenges, I will meet those challenges head on and do the very best job as other previous constables that have before me and stand upon the shoulders of them as well. Thank you.
Chris Hill, what challenges do you foresee transitioning from criminal law responsibility or criminal enforcement to predominantly civil law enforcement responsibility? What steps will you apply to address those challenges?
Well, believe it or not, even in criminal law enforcement, quite a bit of your calls that you get called on end up being civil matters. It's amazing the amount of calls that you get sent to car theft or something being stolen, and once we get to talking about to the victim about what happened, it turned out being a civil matter. There was a civil agreement of some sort that was in there, so it turned out being a civil matter. And on that, you take an incident report that you're saying something happened rather than an obvious report, but no obvious occurred. So any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas, especially rurally, already has quite a bit of civil law enforcement experience, whether they like it or not. My last 10 years, I spent as an administrator in a law enforcement agency. And while I'm a law enforcement officer and would go out and do things, my primary duties were budgeting, grants, disciplinary, internal affairs investigations, which many times are civil in nature. You're not getting to, throw someone when your officer's in jail, but you got to look at the policies that may have violated, and then look at what type of punishment, whatever is necessary for that. So a lot of times that's going to be civil as well. I was the internal affairs investigator and officer, supervisory officer in that. Also with animal control, I supervise animal control, which they have authority to write city ordinance citations, which are all class C. Most everything else on that is civil in nature. So up until about a year or so, I was also a member of Police Futurist International, which looks at the future of all law enforcement and what issues that may come about, both criminal and civil. And I have that for access. So I think I've got a pretty decent game plan laid out for this. Thank you.
Dennis, would you like a rebuttal? All right, Chris, if you'll just stay up there, please. Our third question. What is your motivation to be the next Hopkins County Constable for Precinct 1, and why is this ambition important at this time in your life?
Great question. Service. While I was at Leadership Command College, I wrote and published a white paper back in 2019, 20, that was modern law enforcement and the service-oriented approach. There is, in my opinion, through the last 30, 40 years, law enforcement has gotten far away from the service-oriented approach and a lot into the protect and serve. They went from the ask, tell, make model to the things that we've been seeing on the news here lately. Not saying the news reports everything accurately, because God knows they do not. However, I do see actions of officers that make me want to hide my head in shame. No one hates a bad officer more than a good officer. And my focus is service. I want to serve the citizens of Hopkins County in whatever capacity I can. And I've got the experience, I've got the knowledge, I've got the know-how, I've got the the education to do it, and I want to be your next constable precinct 1.
Dennis Finley, I'll repeat the question. What is your motivation to be the next Hopkins County Constable for Precinct 1, and why is this ambition important at this time in your life?
Public service is what I enjoy the most. I spent 28 years being a public servant here in Hopkins County, 25 years as a service officer in Hopkins County. I want to continue that public service to assist other law enforcement agencies in their efforts as well. But I have a responsibility as a constable to take care of the responsibilities as a constable, delivering civil process. That's our goal. We need to take care of that, take care of our courts, provide security for our courts. Our job is to stop there when outside agency call me assistance. If I'm not tied up in court, I'm very, very responsible to assist them with everything that they got on. My promise to you is that I'll never tarnish the badge. That's the most important thing to me, never tarnishing that badge. I will always uphold that badge above everything. Thank you.
Thank you. And gentlemen, our final question, Chris passes on his rebuttal for question 3. So our final question 4, and Dennis, you'll be back up there. Constables have the inevitable and difficult responsibility of taking away property and even children from those who have found themselves at the receiving end of a court order or judgment. How are you prepared to deal with the sensitive and unpredictable encounters with individuals who may consider this the most vulnerable and trying time in their lives?
Having spent 22 years in the Sheriff's Office, in the last 8.5 years as an investigator, I've had the opportunity to investigate and interview all kinds of people from all walks of life. I believe I have the confidence and the ability to deal with those people and their individual problems, maintaining compassion for what they're going through. My responsibility is to also do the job that I hired to do, but at the same time, I'm being compassionate about the problem they're going through. They're suffering, and I feel that suffering from time to time in the business that I'm in. So the job comes first, and then the compassion and taking care of their situation. Doing my very best to explain the situation to them and try to help them through that difficult time. Thank you.
And Chris, again, constables have the inevitable and difficult responsibility of taking away property and even children from those who have found themselves at the receiving end of a court order or judgment. How are you prepared to deal with the sensitive and unpredictable encounters with individuals who may consider this the most vulnerable and trying time of their lives?
Well, being a police officer or a law enforcement officer for as long as I have, you get accustomed to an extent to being a part of citizens and people's lives when it's not the best part. You're not every man dropping off a big fat check. You're either going to take a report where they just had something stolen. They could have just lost a loved one. They could have just been involved in a car wreck. They could be being arrested for stealing something. Most of the time you're dealing with people, you are dealing with them on a bad time. When you're serving civil process or warrant or taking children away or taking property away or evictions or anything like that, first and foremost, you got to treat these people with respect. I've been on low times before. Just because I've been on down times, I don't deserve to be disrespected. Humility. Serve them with humility. Serve them with respect. That's what Christ calls us to do. That's what I want to base my life and my job and my career after. I feel like I'm well prepared to do that, not just from my past experience, but I've been a mental health peace officer for 26 of those 27 years. And I also teach crisis intervention training, a 40-hour class that teaches police officers how to identify people who are in crisis and recognize that they may not be as combative as you think they are. They're just in crisis at that time. They might just lost a pet. They might just lost a parent. They might just came to the end of a marriage, and you just happen to pull them over at that time. Learn to recognize those things and de-escalate. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video.